everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey, you guys. How's everyone's afternoon so far? A little bit earlier than normal because I will probably go live again tonight in the Idaho case. There's a couple of things I know that we need to go over. I also saw earlier on Sarah's YouTube channel that she posted that there were some documents that came out in the EWU lawsuit against MPD for how they're doing their FOIA requests. There's also someone told me, and I'm glad they did, don't get my frustrations about what I'm about to say wrong. Someone said for me to go and listen to a podcast from a channel called, well, not a podcast, it's just like an episode of War Deadpool, because there was somebody that claims they lived in 1119 King across from the 1112 camera that came out and spoke. And when I tell you I've been yelling and cussing and screaming for the past like 2 hours at this moron, I can't even like express to you how aggravated this person made me because of how pathetic they answered stuff and basically just made it seem as if anybody asking questions and anyone else besides her is just throwing a bunch of stupid shit out there that's not real, while also saying stuff like, yeah, there's no way Matt Moy had a party that night. I just don't believe it. No, it wasn't him. Yeah, I don't know why anybody's even looking at the DoorDash information, because what does it have to do with anything? I mean, I think I would know the ambiance of that area. I lived there. Girl, what? So we're going to go over that this week, but the way that she's acting and then getting so many factual things wrong, even when she's being said, but it says in the documents, she's like, yeah, I read all the documents, but and I'm like, you have to be talking to the Consalvises or had to have talked to the Consalvises, because then she's also saying stuff like, oh, how this isn't a movie and all this just very repetitive, same stupid shit. And I'm still sort of like down for being aggravated from that. I'm not even done like listening and like getting my screen recording done so I can do my editing for the live review of it, because I needed to do this. I've been wanting to get this interview reviewed, and it's been out for like 4 or 5 days now. But I'm just like, I'm still coming down from being just so aggravated at this person. She doesn't know major player names, acting like she just... I'm also going to verify some things that she says about when she got home, because we have the timestamp that she claims that she got home from the 1112 cameras and a few other things. We're going to be going over that soon. But she aggravated the holy hell shit out of me. She aggravated the holy hell shit out of me, bro. The one thing that she said that I did find interesting is that apparently a cop lived at the end of Linda Lane, and he had an undercover cop car. And the person that was talking to her asked if it might have been Rosendahl, and I'm wondering if it was. I don't remember ever hearing anything about a cop living in the neighborhood. So that was interesting. But that's about the Idaho case. Okay. Bro, that's the part I just ended on. Oh my God. I was literally in there straightening my hair. Okay, I'm like this, straightening my hair. And this chick says something about, yeah, like we all have cameras and we all have like cameras on our houses. And I said, you lying little bitch. And like I started going off. Oh my God. How are you just going to say all this bullshit? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, insane. This person is saying the most crackadoodle shit that doesn't match anything. Matches nothing. We know what happened with Matt Moy. We know what the damn Banfield dude said. We've heard from him in his interview himself. We've heard from people that were around him that night. We've heard from his brother. Like, we've heard. Girl. And then she also says stuff about how there was an argument between Ethan and Loach that night. And she describes about exactly what the frick it was. So yeah, when we get off of this, I don't know if it's going to be what we go live with tonight, but probably tomorrow for sure, because we've got to talk about this. And again, I don't think that they vet to see if this girl is like legit or not, but I'm going to do my own vetting because she does say some names. But to not know Eric Gower, and he literally picked up people from your house that night, and you swear that you've been there for years, and your mama and your daddy and your grandpa and everybody else been to that college, and you try to act like you're just so, but you don't know anybody that's being talked about, was wild to me. Like, girl. I'm just like, okay, let's get on subject. Let's get on subject. Okay, Nancy Guthrie. I don't want to talk about any of the stupid ass drama around this case because those idiots aren't even worth talking about, and they're going to get their own video. Y'all already know we got to do an update on everything going on with JLR any dumbass way. The only thing that really matters right now in this moment of time, besides the fact that Nancy is still missing, is that Brian Ensign, for some reason, and this is the only like real news that's in my title that really is that there is, and it's coming from Brian Ensign, so let's also just keep that in mind. The only thing that is interesting here is that he was summoned back somehow to look at something in Arizona. And he is claiming now, and this is like blowing my mind because I need somebody to make this portion of this make some sense. I need some people to make some sense of this, please and thank you. Brian Ensign now, as of this morning, is claiming a source close to the investigation says there was no signs of an assault inside Nancy Guthrie's house. The inside of the house was clean. Certain rooms were described as immaculate. Does that not sound the opposite of some shit that we've already heard? Haven't we already heard that there was a glove inside the house? Didn't we also hear that there was blood inside the house? Didn't we already hear that it looked like there were signs of a struggle? Like, that's a complete opposite statement to come out here and claim. So I don't really know what to think about that because, again, the actual law enforcement officers are not saying anything. All kinds of things are coming out about the sheriff lying about his disciplinary record and like all kinds of other stuff. That's the problem. Ensign and his sources. My thing with him, though, is that he is with a company that has these like affiliations with these people. And I don't feel like the company would have wasted money sending him back to Arizona unless there was a reason to actually need him to be there. And maybe it's just this. I don't know. I don't appreciate the way that Brian Ensign covers certain things. I don't appreciate how hypocritical he is. And people can say whatever they want to about that. But this information is odd to me to just be putting out there after everything that they've already came out and told us. So I don't know why he didn't make sure that he could like name his source before putting this out here. Because how are you expecting me to believe that a woman was snatched up out of her house with blood on the front porch? And now we're hearing that the back door was propped open. But there was no sign of a struggle inside of a house you said that y'all already took blood samples from that sent off to the lab. Like, wasn't that like the main thing? Oh, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, Jane. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for the 5, Lori. Thank you. I'm just really confused by why this statement. You too, Lay. I appreciate that. That's the problem. And it's ridiculous to me because there's no actual information, which is crazy. We've got Savannah returning to work. She's done an interview, and that's what we're going to be going over today. But there's not any information on anything. They're not releasing the ransom notes. They're not releasing motive. They're not telling us anything. And now this is the newest piece of information that we get from a news guy who shows back up after being MIA from that area for a little while. And the first thing he posts is something that's the opposite of what we've heard. So then what from inside the house was DNA that needed to be sent to the lab in Florida? Because remember, they sent stuff off to a lab in Florida. And it wasn't just the gloves they found outside. It was not just the blood outside on the front porch. It was stuff from inside the house. They said that at the press conference. Didn't they? So that's very confusing. I also don't understand how in this we're hearing from Savannah that the back door was propped open, but we have the blood in the front. Now, I have said that I wondered if Savannah's mom, because just because you don't have a subscription doesn't mean that you're not going to get notifications on your doorbell camera, like regardless of the company. you're still going to get notifications for things, movements, motions, whatever. You're still going to get notifications for stuff. We also know that it detected motion, the front camera, or at least, well, actually, I don't even think that they've told us yet which camera detected motion. We know one of them was broken. We know the other one apparently was removed. The whole situation, it just makes no sense. There's like literally, in these cases, there's usually just like one little bitty piece that can make everything flawlessly melt together and make sense. But to say that there was no sign of a struggle, and in fact, some rooms could be considered immaculate, is wild to me. But then again, this is also the house that like she's owned for like 50 plus years, right? Like Savannah grew up in that house. So maybe like the childhood rooms are left immaculate. Like it could be just a play on words, and she really only lives in her bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room, because what is she going to do with the rest of that house? What does she need to be in all the rest of those rooms for? You know what I mean? I just don't understand how this happens. An old lady that can barely move apparently can't even get to the mailbox and back without assistance. And nobody hears a thing. There's no drag. There's no feet marks. So somebody had to have like, they had to have like physically carried her out of there because it's all dirt. I mean, I guess they could have like swept her footprints away, right? I don't know. I don't freaking know again. I don't know why she was living alone either. I mean, maybe because she felt like she was still, or they maybe felt like she was still independent enough, but obviously she didn't drive, which still doesn't mean that you need full-on assistance. But if you really cannot move that well, you probably should have had some sort of nurse. And she might have, and maybe she was just like temporary or like part-time. I know that my grandpa, even now with my grandma gone, he still has a nurse that comes in to help take care of him and like do some like light cleaning and straightening up and organizing that he gets from the VA for like 4 hours a day. So maybe she just didn't need like full-on care because she was cognitively still there is what they've said. Yeah, but they're also like no sign of anything. And I just don't see how like a woman, even being woke up in the middle of the night in a dead sleep, like just say the person got into the house and somehow managed to not stir her even a little until they got right up on her. You would think that even like at the bed, on the bedside, something would have been fallen over. Something would have looked something like something. And that's just not the case. I don't see how she didn't. I don't know how she didn't. Did you? It was interesting that they towed the vehicle considering that she hadn't been driving it. And they're not telling us, like she Ubered over there to her daughter's house. And at first they were trying to tell us that it was a son-in-law, and then they went to family. And I think at some point someone even said Annie. So that's all honestly like up in the air still, technically, about who actually drove her back. So I don't know why they would have taken it. Unless maybe they thought that somebody would have like taken it to dispose of her and then parked it back, because that's kind of like the only scenario where that makes sense. Plus, we know the garage door was open and closed at some point. But that's another thing that's bothered me in this whole case is like they're telling us they have this camera footage of this person in the mask that looks all creepy with the gun in the freaking front holster, which is just still so strange to me. And they have a motion detector, and they have the garage opening and closing, but you don't have any camera footage of her walking into her house. That camera was back there. We got the camera in the front. There's no footage of her going home. These people just like poofing into thin air stories are the worst ones. Especially when we have a person on camera responsible for the poofing, and then nobody gets arrested. I just can't even understand. Yeah, I have a piece of something that Brian Ensign did walking around with someone in the back just to see like how vast the back of Nancy's house was that we're going to watch after this interview. Now, I did, again, take some stuff out of it just so I can get away with showing it because I know today's show tries to be stupid. As you can see, today is backwards, and this is flipped from how you've noticed it. I sped it up not to 1.10, but to 1.05, just to give it a little bit of a difference. And of course, I have my 35 millimeter filter over it. Let me go ahead and put my banner. I'm not playing with the Today Show. Law and Crime tried it. They lost. I'm not playing with the Today Show. Let's go ahead and put this up here. Savannah Guthrie interview reaction. Copyright. Disclaimer. Section 107. For review purposes. Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks for the 5, Jane. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for showing up. That part bothers me right there. Well, not just that, but Nancy also had money. Like, she wasn't like not well off. Like, she could take care of herself, I think, financially from the career that she ended up in and like retiring out of. But it's also not just Savannah. Apparently Annie Guthrie is pretty well off. Her and Tommaso make decent money, and also the other brother. Like, they were all equally like responsible for, why do you not make sure that your mom has adequate stuff? Like, it's not like they were in no contact with her like some people. They were apparently a real close-knit family. So yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that, especially living out in the middle of nowhere where she lived. Like, just the simple fact that it's so close to the border, that it has a high freaking crime rate in that area. All the freaking people that nerdy addict channel found, that people were sending him Ring camera footage of all of the alerts within like a few mile radius of Nancy's house, of just literally every day, sometimes multiple times a night, of people just in people's houses, in people's neighborhoods, in people's yards, going and trying to get into their fences, peeping into their windows, seeing if doors are unlocked, constant everywhere. But and as rich as Savannah was, something I didn't realize, and we're going to hear in a second when I press play, the brother was in like high intelligence in the military. So we've got Savannah that has a shit ton of money, but then we also have somebody that probably has some really high classified military secrets. And I don't really know what the hell Annie and Tommaso are into. I know we see what some stuff is online. But when it comes to motive, those two for sure have like a more public motive. I don't know. I don't know enough about the facts of Annie and Tommaso to say that there's anything there, because they all seem to be pretty well off. I don't know. This whole thing is crazy. It is just insane. I just don't even really know what to like think. Okay. Let's go ahead and start this. Why do I keep pressing that damn wrong button? I'm trying to fix it over here to where this is as big as it gets. Okay. Okay, let's just listen and see what they say. Again, it's a little bit edited.
Take me back to the day. It was, I guess, a normal weekend for you.
Yeah.
The weekend your mom went missing. Tell me what you were doing and what happened.
Well, Mike, I had given Mike for Christmas a boys trip to go play tennis. And so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Carson's.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a beautiful, fun night together. And then I came home, and really it just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi, putting down our stuff, and the kids were running around. And my sister called me and I said, "Is everything okay?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "No." She said, "Mom's missing." And I said, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" She said, "She's gone." And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, "Call 911.
Yeah.
She's like, "I did. We've called them. They're here."
Now, this is interesting too, because in the very beginning, and that Senator Mark Kelly guy already came out and like put a public post out on Twitter about the situation. We were told from literally like day one that Annie got a hold of Savannah, and Savannah contacted Senator Mark Kelly, and Senator Mark Kelly is who contacted the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and then there was a 911 call that was sent in or called in. So I don't know how we're supposed to clear that up. I don't know how that's supposed to get cleared up, untwisted, found out the truth about, because we've already sort of heard from everybody involved in this, and now she's telling a whole different story of, oh, by the time my sister called me, 911 was already called. So which was it? Because Senator Dude already came out here and said it. So that's confusing.
We thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, you know, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, you know, and
see, that part is what's strange. Propped open. Propped open. I don't know if she says what was being used to prop them open in this interview, or if we've heard from any sort of actual official source, shall I say, what was being used to prop the door open. But again, we have the blood in the front. So I've always questioned, did she wake up? Did she get notifications on her phone, or maybe hear rustling or something going around, like going on outside? I don't know where her bedroom is in way of the front door. They've been really sort of like quiet about a lot of that stuff. I guess I could get like on some sort of website maybe and see, but if her house hasn't been posted for anything, and she's owned it for 50 years, right? 40, 50 years. I don't know if it'll really show any of that. So I don't know how well she could have maybe heard the person. But when the camera is like being reached for, the way that the blood is, I've always wondered, did she get up and like, because she maybe is just that kind of girl, went to go confront this person at her front door. The door swung open. There was some sort of altercation, and it fell back inside the house. And maybe that's why the back door had been propped open, because maybe it was two people and something happened. Maybe she was already deceased by the time they removed her from the house, and they had to prop the door open in order for them to remove her body from the house, because something happened when she came to the front door. I don't see how it could have been just one person. Even if it was just one person, I don't see how they could have carried her. She wasn't a little bitty thing. And we saw the size of that person, so I don't see how they could have carried dead weight and not left any trace of anything. And there being blood inside the house, and the back door's propped open, but no blood in the house, according to what they're trying to say, which I still just don't believe it. I know they said in the beginning that they took DNA or some sort of blood from inside the house and sent it off to the lab. And I know that it was before they were being honest with us about the blood on the front porch. I wish somebody that wasn't the stupid sheriff would come out here and speak, and not do individual interviews to where everything gets misconstrued. Just one. Sit down and talk to everybody.
That didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there was a stretcher and they took her out the back, but her phone was there and her purse was there and all her things. And it just didn't make any sense. So, you know, Annie and Tommy had already called all the hospitals, but then I'm like, I'm going to call the hospital. So then I started calling the hospitals.
She was only 150 pounds?
And
she looks like she was heavier than that. Maybe it's just because she's older. Okay, 150 ain't much for a guy to carry.
The police were there and talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos and disbelief.
You saw Annie and Cam when you got to their house. Tell me about that moment.
Just disbelief and hugging each other. Yeah. And I think we were on the phone
I
with
have
the
a thing of it. We're going to show it.
Trying to, you know, really make clear from the very early moments, you know, Annie and Tommy were saying this isn't that case that you are used to where someone wanders off. She can't wander off. Mm-hmm. My mom, she was in tremendous pain. Yeah. Her back was very bad, you know.
But see, that's another thing. If something were to happen, let's just say She woke up and suddenly her memory was all screwed up and she didn't know where she was. And it was just like some sort of like instant thing. If you're in a panic, an adrenaline panic, because suddenly your brain is not telling you like what you need to know in order to know where you are and feel safe, I can imagine that adrenaline in the panic and the anxiety would cause a person to be able to move around probably a lot different than they're used to. So I've always thought about that when they said, oh, she couldn't have just walked off. I don't think she just walked off, but I don't think that it's ever really been just an impossibility either. In my opinion, I don't believe it, but I don't think that they should have just like instantly discredited it, even with the blood outside, until they got the footage of the guy. Once they saw the footage of the guy, yeah, you throw that shit out the window. But for them to not really kind of like even consider that was interesting, it really makes you wonder what they knew ahead of time if everything inside was so immaculate and they didn't know about the blood for a couple of days because they released the scene and didn't do nothing with it. This case is just insane. I don't really feel like they did anything here. Like, I'm thinking back to all the answers that they've ever tried to give us, and they really haven't given us any answers at all. Even their timeline for this person being on camera, the camera being disconnected, and the motion being detected ended up being flip-flopped after like 2 weeks. I just don't understand.
She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off. And the doors were propped open.
Yeah.
And there was blood on the front doorstep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the Ring camera had been yanked off. Yeah. And so we were saying this
and the other camera was busted up.
Do something.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
This isn't, something is very wrong here.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about what
the one person that I heard had cameras like across the street said that the same night that all of this happened, that their camera stopped working. Something I think about like a bad Wi-Fi connection or something like that. And I think it was with ADT, maybe like ADT itself like had a problem. But I know that that was something that came out like later. And see, that's another thing. That's another problem, is that we saw the damn law enforcement people going around and getting neighbors' camera footage and looking at cameras weeks after Nancy had gone missing. So people cannot sit here and say that we're crazy for thinking that, oh, you're trying to tell me that the FBI and the Idaho State Police and Moscow Police Department and all these agencies got everything wrong and screwed everything up. Well, look what they did here on camera, so we could see how pathetic the entire thing was. The FBI doesn't go looking for camera footage. The police department doesn't go looking for camera footage in the neighborhood for weeks. We see them weeks later on ladders getting cameras down. All of the departments collectively failed in this one too. I don't even know how we fix this system. I don't even know how we fix this. I have no idea.
Possibly could have happened, like what could have happened, what went down? Did you?
I think my brother, I mean, my siblings are so amazing. My brother, you know, he spent his career in the military and worked in intelligence.
See?
And he's a fighter pilot.
He might have made enemies somewhere. He might have. I know there's a little boy who, his name is Sean Doherty. He was like 12 when he died. And they've tried to claim that it was a self-unaliving situation that makes legitimately zero sense. But both of his parents, well, I'll take that back. They're really quiet about the dad, which is interesting. But the mom and the stepdad worked really high up in the military and were about to move to Washington, D.C. to start doing like work for that kind of high up importance right before Sean died. And the cameras, there's no cameras, there's no answers. The toddler was covered up and closed, and the heat was turned up in order to like suffocate the kid. Like all kinds of crazy shit happened. I think it was a military hit. I think something happened to scare them from moving on into their position. There was some sort of threat there. So I have to take that into consideration here too, even though Savannah's rich and a celebrity technically, this guy might have something from his intelligence days. We don't know.
And is brilliant. And he saw very clearly right away what this was.
Yeah.
And even on the phone, when I called him, he knew.
He knew.
And he said, I think she's been kidnapped for ransom. And I said,
Yeah.
See, that part I still don't agree with. I don't agree whatsoever that this was a ransom. And I've said already why. No one submitted a ransom note, asked for money, anything until a press conference happened. And someone, I can't remember what news station it was a man from the news media group, little crowd, asked the sheriff if there's been a ransom or anything like that. Could this be a ransom kidnapping? There was a question about that asked, and we were told no. 3 hours later, TMZ gets a freaking ransom note, some shit like that. It was really close like that. So for days, a few days, no ransom, no nothing. It gets announced that there hasn't been, and suddenly one shows up. And you want me to believe that this was an actual ransom kidnapping? People don't wait days and days and days to ask you for money for someone that they just kidnapped to get money. That's one of the first things that they're going to try to get out of you because they want the situation over as fast as possible. So I don't know why they keep leaning on that, because that just logistically, that doesn't make sense to me.
what? Well, why? What? And then, I mean, it sounds so like, how dumb could I be? But I didn't want to believe. I just said, do you think because of me? And he said, I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah, maybe. But I knew that.
You did.
I hope not. I mean, we still don't know.
Mhm.
Honestly, we don't know anything.
No.
Nothing.
We don't
literally
know
nothing.
anything. So I don't know
Yeah.
that it's because she's my mom and somebody thought, oh, that girl, that lady has money. We can make a quick buck. I mean, that would make sense, but we don't know.
Except they
But
didn't ask for
that's
money.
Probably, which is too much to bear. To think that I brought this to her bedside,
That
that
part.
it's because of me.
Hey, Rosie.
And I just say, I'm so sorry, Mommy. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to my sister and my brother and my kids and my nephew and Tommy and my brother-in-law. I'm like, so sorry. I'm so sorry. If it is me, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
In all the despair, you sat and managed to think of words to say. How were you able to do that in
Yeah.
that moment?
See, and she just keeps, like, she'll say here what she's already said like 1,000 times. Like, someone knows, well, duh, someone knows, and someone could come out here and do the right thing and just tell us blah, 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 blah. I mean, okay, but you already came out and said that you were going to pay the ransom publicly. You publicly came out and said that you were going to pay it, and then you didn't pay it. That was one of the like weirdest things, because between all of them, between all of the family, that's like nothing to them. Let's be so serious when it, in way of monetary value. What was being asked for was nothing to them. Okay. Savannah's not the only one with money. Her husband is well-to-do. His name is in the Epstein files. He has a lot of political and non-political affiliations. That's all factual. They had the money. What is that? Like a week's worth of salary for both of them? Let's be so serious. And they didn't. So if you didn't, how much of a ransom do you think this actually was? Like your thought process is being shown in your lack of action. Because if you really believed that this was a ransom kidnapping and you really believed all the things that you're out here claiming, then why didn't you pay it? After publicly saying that you were going to pay it. I don't understand that. That right there, like, threw a lot of people off, wondering, like, okay, what do you know? Because you're out here saying one thing, but then in the background, you're doing the opposite. So what is it that you guys actually know here? Odd behavior. Odd behavior.
Well, my siblings are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a unit. And I talked about how brilliant my brother is, but my sister is equally brilliant and also has special powers of intuition. And
she says this just as ridiculously metaphorically as Olivia with what she just recently said about Kaylee. She's talking about how her mother is with God, not physically with her, which is a lot of the kind of like some of the stuff that I took out of here, because you can't sit. Well, no, I think that part maybe still be in here, but there was a lot of the, like, the religious stuff I took out of here just because I cannot sit here and listen to somebody crying about something tragic happening in their life while talking about God and faith and all these things, while also having, like, it just feels like you're constantly trying to make yourself feel better and make yourself feel like, oh, well, I don't have control of it, so I can't really do anything about it, so I'm just going to let go of it. And that's what, to me, a lot of the, like, the whole religious thing is, not wanting to either take responsibility for all the bullshit that you've done and wanting to blame it on the bad part of it, or you want to, like, give praise to something for something happening instead of, like, giving the credit to the human who actually did it, that kind of thing. It's the same sort of metaphorical. She's going to say in here, God spoke to her and told her, oh, you know where she is. She's with me. She's with me. But then she goes on to say, regardless of if she's still on this earth or not, or if she's up in heaven with him. Okay, well, then you don't know. And you're not sure. So if you think that she's still alive, she's not with your God, because that would mean that she'd have to be dead, right? So I think she's just talking to talk, which we've seen a whole lot of here in, like, a lot of these cases.
faith and language and depth and heart.
I forgot. Let me look. It was Bitcoin.
And I feel like we came together with all these beautiful gifts that came from our mom. And
$6 million in Bitcoin. Some people think it might have been closer to 4.7 million, but who the frick's going to sit there and ask for $4.7 million instead of just a straight number? 6 million sounds like that's what it was in Bitcoin. Which Bitcoin, like, fluctuates all the time. So just depending on if and when this would have been paid would have depended on how many Bitcoins they actually had to send, because the price per Bitcoin is constantly fluctuating.
Dad and from God. And somehow together we did our best to come up with the words to say. And I haven't posted one thing or said one thing.
This is the topic. And if you don't like what I'm saying, get the hell out of my chat.
Haven't
Okay.
decided together. It is surreal.
That's what I think too, but that's why I don't understand why she didn't pay it. Like, that was that's how I understood, like, I think, like, the last video that they did, I could sort of, like, feel like they already know that she's no longer alive, and they really want to, like, have that physical human closure of getting her body back, having the memorial type service, having a funeral, and being able to say their goodbyes. But then I still have to question, why didn't they pay it? Like, if they're going to come out here and she's going to try to get sympathy for, holy shit, this might be my fault because I'm this rich person with this title, why didn't you pay it? Why didn't you pay it? Between all of those people with all of that money, why didn't nobody pay it? That's, like, my biggest question. It's been my biggest question for some months.
How is it possible that we are having to make a video speaking to a kidnapper who took an 84-year-old woman
In the middle of the night.
in the dead of night in her pajamas with no shoes, without her medicine. This little person. And to beg for mercy.
In the days that followed, multiple notes demanding
crazy.
payment were sent to various media outlets.
I guess I didn't realize how tiny she
The
was.
ransom notes or ransom requests came. Did you believe those to be real?
There are a lot of different notes, I think, that
Yeah.
came. And I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. And I didn't see them. But, you know,
One more time.
it's my understanding are not real. And I didn't see them.
So so now she's admitting that she does not believe that the ransom notes are real. So then why, for the past few days, have I been seeing a bunch of people claiming that she knows they're real and in the notes gave her some sort of like clue that maybe Nancy was no longer alive? Like, that's been the heavy topic over the past few days. So she just said that she doesn't think they're real. She thinks it was a ransom. She's crying because it could be her fault that Nancy got taken. But now you're telling me that you don't think any of them are real. And she just said they never saw any of them. So law enforcement didn't print them damn things out and show the family any of these notes, because that's why FBI stepped in. The FBI stepped in because of the ransom notes. What?
A lot of different notes, I think, that
Yeah.
came. And I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. And I didn't see them. But, you know, a person that would send a fake ransom note really has to look
When did
deeply
she
at
say that?
themselves.
Let me
To a
go back
family in
again,
pain.
because I did not hear
For
that.
them,
Notes or ransom.
see.
In the days that followed, multiple notes demanding payment were sent to various media outlets.
The ransom notes or ransom.
Yeah, it wasn't just TMZ.
requests
It was some
came.
local
Did you
stations
believe
too.
those to be real?
There are a lot of different notes, I think, that
Yeah.
came. And I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. And
Wasn't there just
I
3?
didn't see them. But, you know,
Email.
a person that would
Actually,
send a
that's
fake
not true
ransom
either.
note,
The way that TMZ and I think a girl from one of the local stations said it was that instead of it being like an email that's traceable, there was like this contact us form on the website where you could like send in something anonymously. And so it was done on the media's website with like this contact form. That's how they were sent in. Very odd. I'll go back again for this part, but I don't remember. I don't hear her saying anything about how she thought 2 of them were real.
art. And I feel like we came together with all these beautiful gifts that came from our mom and dad and from God, and somehow came together. And we this to her bedside, which is
Okay, yeah.
from
go forward.
God.
Okay.
And somehow together we
Right, like not
did
her
our
friend,
best to
but unbiased review.
come up with the words
Interview.
to say. And I haven't posted one thing or said one thing that the 3 of us haven't decided together. It is surreal. It's how is it possible that we are having to make a video speaking to a kidnapper
Yeah, that is crazy.
who took an 84-year-old woman in the dead of night in her pajamas with no shoes, without her medicine. This little person. and to beg for mercy.
In the days that followed,
Yeah, Huda does
multiple
look like
notes
she's faking it.
demanding payment were sent to various media outlets.
Which is kind of sad because this
The
is like a real friend of hers.
Notes or ransom requests came. Did you believe those to be real?
There are a lot of different notes, I think, that
Yeah.
came. And I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. And I didn't see them. But, you know, a person that would send a fake ransom note really has to look deeply at themselves.
One
Yeah.
guy's in trouble for it. We have to go
To
over those
family and
documents
pain.
too.
But I believe
Maybe it's right here.
the 2 notes that we received,
Okay.
that we responded to,
Mhm.
I tend to believe those are real.
Okay, so
Really?
why you hadn't gotten to that part yet?
Mhm.
When the Ring camera video surfaced
God, it's so
and you could see who that person was, just tell me what you thought when you saw those images of the person who.
But I'll also say this again. It doesn't make sense for it to be Ransom. And if you think that they're real, if you're going to sit here now and tell the public that you believe that 2 of them were real, then why didn't you pay it? My question still remains. So if she really does believe that 2 of them were real, why didn't she pay the freaking ransom? Why didn't they all collectively pay the ransom? Nobody would have looked down on them. Nobody would have talked shit to them. Nobody would have said anything. It's a horrible situation. And if that was really the situation and you've got the damn funds and you think 2 of them are real, then why didn't you just pay it? Okay.
Who took your mother?
I mean, it's just
Only if it's
absolutely
within
terrifying.
Bluetooth range, which is like nothing.
It's just totally terrifying.
But also, it also depends on the type of pacemaker and the because there was like 3 of them when we looked these up, and or maybe there was 4. I know for sure one of the apps for the pacemaker was only for physicians, and the other 2 had apps where you could put like family contacts. And one of them for sure would get like alerts if something went wrong. So that's another question: is did none of these people have access to her pacemaker app? And they should have, especially Annie and Tommaso, because they lived right there. So yeah, that's another big question for sure.
And I can't imagine that that is who she saw standing over her bed.
I think she confronted the person at the door. I really do.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And I'm glad and grateful to the investigators and the technology companies that were able to find that video.
Mhm.
Actually, that's another thing too. You would think that once her pacemaker disconnected, that it would alert the company and there would be some sort of like automatic situation where the police would have shown up. You know what I mean? Like instantly the heart somehow stops reacting. It sends some sort of alert and here comes an ambulance. That should be like how that technology works. In my opinion, that would make sense, but obviously that's not what happened.
So I hope, at least with people of good heart and compassion, stop the irresponsible and cruel speculation that had started to swirl.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
I'm glad that people saw
Yeah.
what came to our door.
You mean from your friend? Because Ashley Banfeld is who started the shit about Tommaso. And then Nancy Disgrace jumped on it, and her weird ass little blonde friend that just agrees with every damn thing that the weirdo says. And then, of course, certain channels went really stupid without having any proof of anything other than the fact that they were the last 2 people that saw her. And he, I don't know, maybe to some people fits a description. I don't know. I don't really see a problem. I also have never seen anything in their background that would suggest that they might even be close to doing anything crazy. No one has been able to pull up anything about financial stuff being bad, anything about them needing money for anything, any bad connections to anything. There's been nothing other than the fact that he's a dude. He's a guy with a beard and he happened to be around. That's like all there is. And it started with Ashley Banfield. So yeah, I'm glad that maybe they get a taste that it's not us. We're out here trying to figure things out while you have these people that claim to have all these sources coming out here and saying the most outlandishly stupid shit with no facts whatsoever. What's Tommaso going to do about it? See, when we ask questions about Dylan and Bethany, we have their text messages and their records and all of the actual factual facts in front of us about that night, you know? When we question things when it comes to Brian Koberger, it's because we have the facts, the evidence, and the phone records and the court documents and all the things, the exhibits all in front of us. What was there about Tommaso? What was there about Tommaso? Nothing. It got pulled out of Ashley Banfield's ass and slapped on a screen, and millions of people entertained it. What was there about Tommaso? There was no receipts, no proof of anything. But everybody always has to have a target. And instead of people going in and digging for the right targets with something you can actually talk about, they just want to find whichever one's the most convenient. Ashley wanted ratings. Megyn Kelly did no better. Where are their retractions? Are they going to ever come out and say anything? Probably not. Even if Nancy does get found somehow, people get arrested. How much you want to bet that still doesn't get cleared up? And people can say, even when we were talking about the stuff that was going on with JLR and Magnolia and everything about the Adult Protective Services card showed up, that still wasn't that dumbass. That was somebody else that started that. And not really started anything. It's just a question thread trying to figure out what's happening. Hopefully people start seeing things for how they really are, because that was Banfield. And all of the misinformation that she's thrown out here in the Idaho 4 case, and not just about Brian Koberger, but about the victims too. Ugh, she just gives me the ugh.
Yeah. When you talk about the cruel speculation, the whispers, the innuendo that it was somebody in your family, how did you weather that?
It's unbearable.
Yeah.
And it piles pain upon pain. There are no words. There are no words.
We also need to remember her husband's affiliations too. Like, that should have been a big topic. I don't know why it wasn't.
And no one took better care of my mom than my sister and brother-in-law. And no one protected my mom more than my brother. And we love her, and she is our shining light. She's our matriarch. She's all we have.
Savannah and her family stayed together in Arizona for weeks as the media coverage grew more intense.
We had to move houses many times because
People like JLR was everywhere.
people came, and not everyone is respectful, unfortunately.
No, they have pizzas delivered to your missing mother's house to stomp all over the crime scene.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
there was a night we had to leave in the dark in the desert, holding hands, me and my sister and brother and I, get into a car waiting for us because the people outside were closing in. So we found a place that was safe,
Mm-hmm.
and then we couldn't really leave too much. So like those days are a blur.
Yeah.
Crying and praying.
How did your family feel about the way the investigation was conducted?
Well, it's still going.
Yeah.
And
That wasn't really the question.
people have worked tirelessly. And we see that.
Mhm.
But we need answers. We cannot be at peace without knowing. And someone can do the right thing. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And our hearts are focused on that.
Mm-hmm. You speak about your mom always in the present tense.
Yeah.
That's actually not true. In this interview, she doesn't
she
in a
is
couple pieces.
present tense to me.
I noticed that.
Feel her, or have you heard her any moments?
See, that's so weird. Why would you ask that question? This is why I can't stand about these freaking stupid ass people on these kinds of shows. Why are you asking this woman, regardless of who she is? Okay, this could be any regular schmegular that has a missing person in their life. Why are you asking? Is there any moment where you just heard her? Why do we have to try to pull that kind of bullshit on camera? Why do we have to try to elicit that kind of ridiculously, stupidly dumb emotional response out of somebody when you already know they're dealing with a situation? Why would you ask that? What do you mean? Like, I know what she means, but I find those kinds of like emotional questions like that so stupid. Is there any point in time where you heard her? Yeah, from the missing place where we don't know she is. Her telling me where she is telepathically. Like, why are we asking these kinds of questions? I can't stand. Nancy Grace does it. She does it to the Consalvases, and even then it pisses me off. And you know how I feel about them. But I don't like that. I don't like that baiting. Let me try to get as much of tears out of you and get you to cry your heart out with your little broken heart in front of the camera as much as possible by me using these words and using the way that I ask these questions to break you down. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I hate it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tell me about your mommy. Just tell me about her.
My mom she's incredible.
And some people love that shit.
Resolute.
They want the
and
more
strong.
crying, the better. I don't want that.
Quiet
I don't want
strength.
I want facts. I don't care about none of that.
But hard fought.
Mm.
She's funny and a little mischievous, I would say, in her humor.
Mm-hmm.
She's a noble creature.
Mm.
She does what's right. She walks in faith, but not a fake, pious, put on faith.
That
but
face that she just made. You can tell she's come across people that she thinks are fake. That face was personal. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Carrie. How are you doing? That face she made was personal. Watch her face.
Little,
yeah, I agree with that.
I would say, in her humor.
Mm-hmm.
She's a noble creature.
Mm.
She does what's right. She walks
Watch
in
her face right
faith,
here.
but not a fake, pious.
That sneers personal.
Put on faith, but like
she's thinking out somebody when she says that.
Grounded, earthy. She fought for it. Faith.
One of the images that stayed
I always
with
just saw
me
that.
through all of
Found it
this
interesting.
was you and Annie and Tommaso walking up and looking at the flowers and at the notes. As I saw that, I thought, oh, I wonder if Savannah's going inside and what that must have felt like for you to go inside of your mom's, your childhood home, your mom's house.
Yeah, I mean, this is the house that we grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the only house I've ever known and remember. So we moved there when I was about 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's the house where I came home on a Friday night at 16, and my mom and sister were on the couch praying and told me that my father had died. It's the house where all of our memories are, good and bad.
Savannah's
So it's
working, I
hallowed
guess.
ground. My mom loved and treasured that house. In good years and lean years, they were able to hold on to that house.
Having a house for so long
That's
is
my
a
mom's
goal.
safe haven. It's really hard to see that violated,
Mm-hmm.
and the terror that she must have felt is unbearable. It's unbearable.
Tell me while you were spending all this time in Tucson. Your kids were home. What
If Huda keeps wiping her damn dry ass face, bro. Like I see actual tears coming out of Savannah's face. There is nothing on Huda's freaking face. And she's like, you stop. Your bad acting is driving me insane.
I know.
Ugh.
Well,
Like, come on. Knock it off.
it's so hard with kids because, you know, you want to protect them. Vale would write me all the time. Mama, any leads?
Maybe.
You hear anything? You know,
Maybe.
any hope? And I think that, you know, we tried to talk to them and try to give them a little more certainty than we have.
Mhm. I'm sure the
To let
kids in
them
the family are confused.
grief. And for my little nephew Olmo too, you know, there's just a way in which this is even so much harder. And Annie and Tommy
Mhm.
and Olmo, because they're there.
They're there. Yeah.
And they were there every day for my mom. They made it possible for her to stay in the house we grew up in that she loved so much. I think she always stayed in that house because I think she still felt my father there. All our memories. You know, let her have her space. And it's just a way in which this is just even more excruciating for them and all that they've been through.
I know it was a hard decision for you, and I know you told me about this, was coming back here, leaving Arizona to come back to New York. Why was that so difficult, that choice?
I looked out the window of the airplane and just thought, where are you?
Yeah.
That desert, that beautiful desert that she loves. Where are you? How could I leave you? But my mom taught me a lot about grief. Our family knows grief. My father passed when I was 16 years old. He was only 49. It was a shock.
Say hi.
And I remember my mom saying in those early days when Daddy died, like, you have to get up and decide and do. Just decide and do. And she had read that in a book that meant a lot to her and her grief. And so I always remember that. So I'm trying to decide and do. Just get up and decide and do every day. She showed us how to survive the unimaginable.
Yeah, you know.
When she lost my dad, she was 46 years old.
Yeah, what happened to that private investigator? Because they had a private eye guy that was walking around. And they do have money. And Home Dude has like military connections. Like, I don't know why they haven't, like, unless they have. Maybe they have, and everything that we're seeing out here in the public is just for the public. So maybe there's a possibility that they have put like their resources together and hired like a private finder. But I know that like some families get scammed like that. Like somebody will come in and claim that like they have the crew and the equipment and they've done all these jobs and they found all these people and they act like they have coordinates and they show some sort of proof of something. They're able to fake it, manipulate it, and then they get scammed. Like I remember there was one girl who disappeared on a cruise ship. It wasn't the most recent one that there was a not like recent one, but it wasn't Amy Bradley. It was another one, a blonde-haired girl. And her family, I think they had gotten scammed freaking twice. People showing them photos and locations and coordinates and, hey, this is where she's at and blah, 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 whatever. And they put thousands of dollars into these people and both times were scams. I can't remember the girl's name, but I remember listening to that. I can still see, like, in my brain the drive I was on listening to this podcast in my old SUV. Like, I can see the trees passing, but I can't remember the girl's name. So you have to be really careful, but they were also like regular schmegular old people. They just happen to have money because her dad had a really good job and he made a lot of money. So the amount of resources these people have, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is, and they can't find anything, which is worse, I guess.
She had 3 kids.
Maybe it was Natalie.
She had never worked outside the home. She had to get up. She had to find a job.
He needs to shut his face.
She had to mother 2 teenagers and 1 young adult, just
Holloway.
starting making his way into the world.
Sounds right.
She took care of her mother, her brother, who had Down syndrome. She invited to come live with us. She worked part-time to make ends kind of meet. She found a way, another job, a job she turned into a full-time job, a job she turned into a career. She had a second life.
Zelda's going to open the window.
Of purpose and meaning.
I'm Casper. It'll be okay.
She had a million friends. She stayed strong for us. She was resolute.
She is media trained, so none of this is shocking.
I remember moments in my childhood, in those days after my dad died. She was so strong.
Oh, speaking of, hold on one second. Speaking of Erica Kirk, have y'all seen the newest information coming out of court? I need to look at the documents. I know that Andrea Burkhart's looking at them, I believe, about the bullet not matching the gun that was found with Home Dude. The bullet from inside Charlie doesn't match the one that was found with Home Guy. Tyler, I guess is his name. That's crazy. So I'm going to read that document and see what exactly it is they're talking about. I even think one of the posts said something about how the defense team was even talking about doing some sort of process because there's like a mixture of DNA somewhere they have to test. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm going to look at that probably later tonight.
Things before dawn, and she thought we were still sleeping.
Yeah, they came out yesterday. It's crazy.
Crying at my door. To not be alone in her grief. So she taught me to be strong, but she taught me to be true. I did hear God speak to me. As I said to myself, I can handle anything, God. I can handle anything. I just can't handle not knowing.
I remember the screwdriver.
I can't handle not knowing.
Yeah.
I have to know. And I heard a voice. And it said, you do know where she is. She's with me. She's with me.
See, that's not physical location. That's a religious situation there.
So whether she is on this earth still.
See.
Or whether she is in heaven. I know where she is. I know who she's with. But we need to know.
Did you wrestle with your faith throughout this? You're resolute and strong like your mama. But did you, at some point during all of this, have to wrestle with it?
Is that what they're claiming he did? That he took it apart? But he had it in his pants. There's a lot of details in that case I don't know. I just know that, like, it's got a lot of attention, which it should, because it's insane. But I also know, like, a lot of the beginning stuff is just a bunch of stuff. Like, I want the documents, the documentation, which is probably what I'm going to be, like, super on the hunt for today after seeing this stuff from yesterday, for sure. That's crazy. Disassembled it with the freaking screwdriver. Yeah, see, that part's weird. Maybe we need to do a live get some documentation, get some facts out, and we'll do a live on the Kirk situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not done.
Mm.
But God doesn't tell us not to wrestle with him. This isn't some cheap faith. And my mom taught me that. I will stay connected to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
God is how I'm holding hands with my mom. And I won't let sadness win.
Oh, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, Kay Schmitz. I appreciate that. Thank you. Why do you keep talking about, like, I've tried to like not be an asshole because like I know that like I sometimes I overreact to stuff, but you've been in here doing nothing but talking about cannabis and which states are legal and buying a rolling machine online. So what are you talking about this for? And why would anybody drive all the way to New Mexico for that? That's insane. What are you talking about this for? Now I'm going to pull what the idiot that pissed me off earlier pulled, and I'm going to say, can you stay on task, please? Stay on topic? Because I don't know what you're talking about. But congratulations for being able to buy something online.
For her. She taught me. I
Yeah,
saw
we're
her
gonna. I
grieve.
think we need to.
I saw her world shatter. I saw it. And I saw her get up. And I saw her bleed.
Probably not.
And I saw her love. And I saw her hope. And I saw her smile. And I saw her laugh. I saw her joy. I saw her love of the world and adventure. I saw her belief. I saw her faith.
Which church are you talking about? Because Savannah goes to a big old church in New York that is ginormous and has thousands of people connected to it. And it's also the one that's Nancy watches on Sunday. That dude, that's another thing. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, even though it's technically sort of like incorrect. I don't understand why that dude in the local area came out and acted like Nancy had been a part of the congregation for like 20 years. And he did a whole prayer thing for her and all this other crazy shit. She didn't go to your church, bro. She went to her friend's house every Sunday with the whole other group of old ladies and apparently a couple younger ones and watched the New York service online. They didn't go to that church. So the fact that this pastor, preacher, whatever he is, because they're all different, and I don't know. Sorry, not sorry about it. I don't know what he actually is. Whatever this church man did he lied. He lied and threw a whole bunch of people off because we didn't know what to look for. We didn't know if she missed church group, actually, if she didn't show up to actual church, if it was an online thing where she had to like log in or be in the chat. Like him coming out and lying about her affiliation with that church, like kind of screwed up a bunch of stuff in way of trying to figure out what was really happening. I mean, obviously the police would already know, but if you're trying to alleviate the bullshit out here, Mr. Churchman, why'd you come out here and lie? So if he has lost a bunch of church people, I'm glad because he's a liar. I don't understand that either. Lying man of God. That's crazy.
She taught me. She taught all of us.
Oh, thank you, Miss Lindy J. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Congratulations, guys.
And I may not do it as well as her, but I will do it. I will do it for my kids. I will. I will not fall apart. I will not let whoever did this take my children's mother from them. I will not let them take my joy. They will not take my sister's joy. They will not take my brother's joy. They will not take our love. They will not take our faith. But our anguish is real.
Mm-hmm.
We need help.
I don't know.
We need someone.
I have no idea. Well, maybe we should do like little recaps on those. We'll probably do that.
To tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I have no anger in my heart. I have hope in my heart. I have love.
Mm-hmm.
That this family needs peace.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think we deserve anything more or less than any other person.
Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, Wasp. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm glad you're back. Hope you're doing well. I don't know. That's what I don't understand either. Like, she just sort of like nonchalantly just says somebody can still do the right thing, and she makes it religious, which again, if you're new here, sorry, not sorry about it. It bothers me the way that people use religion. Basically saying you can still feel all of God's glory and all of this happiness if you just come clean, and trying to turn it that way. Honey, if somebody's coming in to steal little old ladies out their freaking sleep in the middle of the night, do you think they care about any of that? Do you think that they care about what your God thinks about them? They gave up on that a long time ago. So I don't know why she keeps saying this and saying it the way that she says it and not being more like direct and speaking to the human portion of things, because no entity went into that house and took Nancy. It was a person, a human being here on this real planet that needs to be spoken to as such. And it just drives me crazy. It just really does.
We don't say, why us, why me, why anything. If I say why me for this horrible thing, then I have to say why me for all the beautiful blessings of my life. Well, then, yes, why? I don't know why. I'm grateful for my blessings. And that's heartbroken.
Ridiculous to think that that's going to matter to that kind of person, but okay.
Yes.
That's like saying gun laws work.
Yes.
I am crushed, but I am not abandoned. We are not alone. Until we need an answer, and someone has it in their power to help. It is never too late. And when you do, the warmth of love and forgiveness that will come will be greater than can be imagined. I know what it is to be forgiven.
Yes.
And there is no greater joy.
Yes.
And that joy awaits.
You're focusing on people in Tucson. Somebody there must have seen her.
I know what it's like to be forgiven. That's you forgiving yourself, because nobody actually spoke to you and said, I forgive you. That's you forgiving yourself. So now you're taking a personal experience and you're trying to put it in the person's peripherals that did this. Basically saying you could be like me too if you just do this thing. Why would you want to even have that sort of comparison, for one? Like, in my opinion, like, why would you want to have that sort of comparison to this type of person? And again, this is about a God. This is not about this person's going to go to freaking jail and spend the rest of their eternal on earth life in prison. That is not going to make them come forward and say anything based off of something that nobody actually knows is real or not. I'm sorry, but nobody really knows. Until you die, you don't have any answers. You could close your eyes, your heart stop, and that's just it. Everything's black for the rest of forever, and nobody knows any better. We don't know. So when you're trying to get somebody to do the right thing, giving them something technically unvalidated and unproven to look at instead of the reality of your ass gonna be behind a jail cell for the rest of forever, that's not gonna work. See, I think in the reality here, I don't think outside of what is humanly possible. So when you're wanting someone to come forward and admit this based off of, again, your own personal experience for something that everyone's experience is different. Everyone's opinion on things is different all across the planet for thousands and thousands of years. No one is consistent. How is that supposed to get them to come forward and say anything? That's not going to stop them from being in prison. That's not going to stop them from having their faces all over the screen. That's not going to stop them and their families from having to go through all the shit, rightfully so for them. Okay, if they're the assholes who did all of this. But that's not going to deter anyone or coax anyone. I feel like there's a time and a place for things. And in serious things like this, where this is a human-bound situation, an earth-bound situation, this kind of stuff shouldn't be mixed in here.
Or known something and maybe forgot about it or didn't pay attention to it.
How can someone vanish
Yeah.
without a trace?
Yeah.
How? Someone knows something, even if that something is
You can put that same
someone's
faith in
been
yourself.
acting strange
All I'm
for the
saying.
last 7-8 weeks, even if it's just that. Somebody knows.
Mhm.
And maybe somebody's
Months. Let me see the exact date.
afraid. And I understand that. But our hearts are in agony.
February 1st. So 3 months.
We can't breathe.
3
We
months.
can't live. We can't go on. We can't be at peace. We can't go forward.
That's true.
We have to know what happened to her. I don't know if I'll belong anymore. But I would like to try. I would like to try. And I'm not going to be the same. But maybe it's like that old poem, more beautiful in the broken places.
Okay. So, yeah, basically not really too much, except for she thinks 2 ransom notes were real, but still didn't bother to pay the ransom. Okay. And the back doors were propped open. That was new information. I also, again, didn't know that her brother had like high up military intelligence, because again, that's like something that people probably should consider. Okay, so now we're gonna listen to just a few minutes of Brian Inton's video that he put out, because he went out back of Nancy's house and walked around. And remember, like, with as sort of mixed up as him and the guy that he's walking around with get, think about at night. Think about at night, because as they're walking around, they're looking at trees and telephone poles and trying to find their direction by like monuments, things like that. In the nighttime, because of the light situation, you can't see those poles, you can't see those trees. So think about the dead of night as this plays, because it's a pretty vast area.
People don't really understand the terrain back behind
Pretty
Nancy's
vast
house.
area.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Apparently, this is now rattlesnake.
Ruby does
Yeah,
with
they're
it.
starting,
Like,
to
it's
come
both.
out.
That's a dumb comment. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry about it, but that's also like a really stupid argument, because literally anything could be anything. Anything could be anything. You can't prove or disprove what you're trying to say with that comment. You can't. Everything that y'all like look at when it comes to that stuff came from a book that was written by a human. But in today's world, if you sit around saying that God's telling you a story and you're writing it down, most of the time you get thrown into a padded room. Let's be so serious. The things in the Bible, there are very historical things that are accurate. I don't think that every single story in it is false. But we also know that it's a huge game of telephone. Okay. Everything was written after the fact. One of the books, particularly, was written by a guy who was exiled on an island all alone, and he wrote it while he was going insane from being alone, from being exiled. King James also was best friends with William Shakespeare. They wore dresses and makeup together, and who knows what else. He also helped him do what he did by removing a lot of books. There's also things out there that are a lot older than the Bible. I'm not a surface level person. I'm not a surface level person. I'm not going to take something that a man wrote and think that it's the only thing out there that means anything about anything. I'll take what I need to from it. And I've read every book back and forth, 2 different versions. I know what I'm talking about. I don't speak out my butt. I don't. But to sit there and say, you have to prove this, oh, you can't do this because of this, and blah, 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 whatever, that's ridiculous. Super ridiculous. And if you look at crime, God is not magically coming into a computer and putting those analytics together on a report. The science that human brains were able to figure out is what's coming up with that answer to that equation, solving that problem. It's just like when a surgeon does heart surgery on a preemie, everyone wants to praise God, and that's great. Go ahead and do it. But give that surgeon whose delicate hands were able to do that delicate work the damn credit that they deserve. That's where I've like drawn the line with things. So again, trying to bring religion into something like this when somebody did something so horrible is as stupidly redundant as trying to make gun laws even more strict than they already are when criminals don't care. Criminals don't give a single shit about your good virtue or your good morals or your ethics. They only care about what they can get from you. And they don't care how they get it, even if it means you no longer being here. So using religion, when it comes to somebody with that kind of mindset, why? Why even try to put that sort of energy into that, knowing that person doesn't match how you feel? That person doesn't match your view of life. So why bother? Why are we doing that? No. When I can actually see something that matters and has facts, then I'll believe it. And for people to just blindly follow things, religious or not, I have issues with it. How can you sit here and say that you just agree with this because some book tells you so, but you're not going to sit here and listen to Ashley Banfield tell you all this shit about the case because you've done your own research and you've looked into things yourself and you found out things your own self. Same concept here. It's just a different level. So no, I'm going to stick to the way that I've lived my life. And I'm going to continue to believe in facts and proof and receipts. And I'm not going to put blame on something that's not even here to put blame on. I'm not going to sit there and blame Satan or the devil for how my ex treated me and almost killed me. I blame that piece of shit. Just like I don't praise a God for the fact that Ariel was able to get the right medications at the right time and lived. I'm going to thank the doctors and the science, the people who worked with us physically to do these things. Same concept. It's the same concept. And I knew with how much she was talking about religion that eventually this was probably going to end up coming up on this live. And I don't have a problem being honest about how I feel or don't. If you're not new here, you know why I feel the way that I feel. So the God and the science thing, two completely different things. Too surface level. You got to go past that. Be deeper.
Early for them, and you'll see there's pathways that a lot of neighbors put up. This is usually just common area, common ground, but we're back here and you can't even see her house necessarily. There's just so much brush in the trees and we're probably 100 feet from it or so. Let's see, my guess is.
That was politician,
So
sweetheart.
do people generally come back here, like
it
in
right.
these
No.
neighborhoods?
No, it would be very rare. You see some of they might have little pathways, but it would be
That part
more
right there.
unlikely for, just a person to walk back here, whether they live here or trying to get through the neighborhood.
The fact that you think that Christianity is the only religion, the fact that you're going to sit here and try to tell me that Christianity is the only one that's got it right tells me that you're the one with an immature understanding of religion. Okay, and this conversation's done because you've already proved to me that you're way more shallow than you should be for trying to preach anything to me.
Because it's really difficult. I am watching out for snakes as we're going.
So the snakes, are we at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, and it's because we hit triple digits earlier here than we normally do. They've been a lot more active. So they might start waking up around now too.
Have you seen any
I
late?
guess
Like,
if
have
you
you seen
step
any
on
this
one, they
season
would
yet?
wake
I haven't yet, but I've seen a lot of pictures.
Yeah. And do they? I mean, again, I'm from Florida. So
Yeah.
do they bite people regularly? I mean,
Not
that's,
you have to really try to get bitten. Even if you almost step on them, they don't want to bite you because they don't want to waste their venom. I worked in a unit that we lived in the desert for almost 5 years, and we'd run into them all the time.
Is he telling us that snakes consciously will think, hold on, do I want to waste my venom on this guy? Can you imagine? That'd be hilarious.
Even if you almost step on them, they don't want to bite you because they don't want to waste their venom. I worked in a unit that we lived in the desert for almost 5 years, and we'd run into them all the time, and no one ever got bit.
so do you think there's a possibility that the suspect or suspects came? Be careful of those cactus, guys.
Yeah.
Came through this back way.
It's possible, but I don't really think so because you see, like, unless you know exactly where you're coming and going, you already kind of have you've probably already lost your sense of direction.
I have.
In just a few seconds back here. So,
you have too.
you know, you use things like telephone poles and things like that. But really these open areas just butt up to the backs of houses. So if anyone's ever back here, you're gonna get a lot of dogs alerting, and you're gonna have to really probably shoot through someone's yard. So it's not like,
What dogs? Where's the dogs? Does he know that area has dogs? Interesting comment, because no one mentioned anything about hearing dogs.
these open areas just butt up to the backs of houses. So if anyone's ever back here, you're gonna get a lot of dogs alerting, and you're gonna have to really probably shoot through someone's yard. So it's not like a lot of normal like back east areas where you have alleyways and it's kind of common.
Yeah.
So
No one would normally come back.
no,
here, yeah.
not at all. So I'm trying to remember exactly. She's got a brick house. I think that
See,
actually
he's
might
lost too.
be right there.
No, that's not it.
They're both
see, the
lost.
image- it is
Yeah,
confusing.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's this way. I think we
They
should
have no
follow
idea
the
what they're
poles.
doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the drone, we're actually not as close as it feels.
Okay.
Maybe dingoes. Are dingoes out? Oh, there's not dingoes in freaking Arizona. What?
Do people ever? I mean, when you were working at the sheriff's office,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever?
Dingoes are not in Arizona. Hmm. Well, maybe no. None naturally occurring. Are dingoes in Arizona? Dingoes are not native to Arizona or the United States. They're wild animals from Australia, which is where I thought they were. And there are no naturally occurring wild dingoes in the USA. So that's what I figured. So maybe he means like wolves, coyotes are out there a shit ton. Yeah, literally nobody said that. I'm about to like really get rid of you because you're being so freaking stupid, and you're like keeping up the conversation because you want to argue when I'm trying to get back on subject. So you're being ignored. I really do believe those are real. My dad swears when he was in Vietnam and he was posted down in Mexico that he saw some. Probably coyotes.
Respond to calls in spots like do people hide in areas like
Oh
this?
yeah, absolutely. You say, you know, if
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. I know that that's probably what he means, but have we heard anything about dogs? Because like he's mentioning that, but has anybody said anything about hearing any dogs that night? Because that's something that I was sort of expecting, but with all the houses sort of like far apart, I just don't know. And of course, we have like no audio to listen to. I just don't know whose houses that are next to her actually did have dogs. I don't think anybody's ever came out with that information.
they were trying to burglarize a house and deputies showed up, they would
Wheels,
get out here,
so
and
you're
this is
like
where we
two
typically find
people
them.
now?
They'd
That's
come
kinda
in there like this
scary.
and try and hide, hunker down underneath the trees, whatever it might be, trying to work a dog or something like that. But this is very common for that. And you'll see, this is what a lot of homeowners do. They'll just come back here and kind of throw some stuff up.
I know
and,
they spread it out like to
you know,
5
try
miles.
and turn it into a walkway or something. Who knows?
Hopefully we're not. Maybe.
Look, even Brian, they're all turned around. They have no idea where they're
even more.
going.
I think it might be back this way. Do you think?
I'm going to pull up my map real
Look
quick.
how
yeah.
lost they are.
Although I don't want to go in anyone's backyard.
Yeah. None of the good thing is like none of this is backyard.
So this is
Yeah.
all public.
Yeah, it's a utility easement, so we can pretty much go anywhere we want. Let me pull up the map real quick.
I hear some voices.
So this would also show you that
Did he just
if
say he
someone
heard
used it back here,
voices?
they would have had me. Yeah. None of the good thing is like none of this is backyard.
So this is
Yeah.
all public.
Yeah, it's a utility easement, so we can pretty much go anywhere we want.
That's
Let
my
me
point.
pull up the map real quick.
I hear some voices.
So this would also
Pitch
show you
black.
that if someone used it back here, they would have had to come out a couple times. They would have had to be real familiar with wherever they
Mhm.
parked to get through here to get back to wherever they parked.
Yep.
And the streets like that we're on now, again, not easy to get out of the neighborhood. So just a little
So I
more.
think we're actually. Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So
So this is her. Right here.
They're literally having a
so-
GPS how to get back to Nancy's house, and they're right there.
So right there, I think, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. This actually I think might be. Oh yeah. This is the house that CBS was using.
Okay.
So now I know exactly where we are.
Does your gut tell you that one of the suspects would have come back through the back way, like through here?
No, I really don't think so. At night,
I don't either.
even if you're really familiar with the area, it's going to be tough to traverse, even though it's not real thick. It's tough. You know,
See,
you have
that's
to
the
know where to
door.
park at.
I'm
You're
gonna have to
probably
pull up
going
a different
across someone
picture.
else's property to get to an area like this that's open. Then you have to get to Nancy's house. Ultimately, if you take her, bring her out the back, and there's no way they're bringing her back this way. You know, so if they got there that way, they clearly had to go out to the front.
Yeah, because we know
See, there's a back door.
the back doors were propped open, according to Savannah.
But I think there's like, isn't there a double door? Isn't that what you said, MDP? That there was a double door back here? Because they keep saying doors, and I only saw like the one door. So let me see if I could see a different picture of it. Nancy Guthrie. Back doors. Yeah, they're saying doors, plural, but they're only showing a singular door. No double door. Sliding glass doors. So are they under here? Are they under this? Okay, so there's a side door right there, I guess. Had 3 separate doors. Okay. So they're saying that one was here, and one was here. He assumed they were sliding doors. Okay. Yeah, this shows 3. So the front door, this looks like the front driveway spot. So I'm going to assume it's over here somewhere. It's hard to tell. I don't think I've really like looked at it aerially before. God, it's so creepy. That picture is still so freaking creepy. Yeah, see, that's just the archway in the front. Hmm. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to think about there being a backdoor situation, but then blood at the front. That's just really strange to me. And now again, with Brian Ensign saying, oh, now they're telling me that there was nothing in the house, but then they came out and said that they had something in the house. They're on the right side of the house. It's a sliding glass door. Yeah, I didn't want to play too much of Brian's video. Let me go scroll through and see if I can just get a still shot of it. See, now 5 hours ago, he came out with the video, no assault inside Guthrie's house. Okay, let me see if I can find. I'll pop this on the screen. Let me see if I can find. So that's just the blue doors.
Park at. You're probably going across someone else's property to get to an area like this that's open. Then you have to get to Nancy's house. You know why I chose my neighborhood? You're looking for also running into the private stuff. Now we got gonna see us right now. We got too much brush in the way.
Savannah has now said that, you know, the back doors were propped open. And when her sister and brother-in-law arrived, the doors were open in the back. What does that mean to you? What does that
brush in the way?
Savannah has now said that, you know, the back doors were propped open. And when her sister and brother-in-law arrived, the doors were open in the back. What does that mean? What does that piece of the puzzle mean to you?
You know, probably the way they got in, if not out as well.
Yeah, they're about to show them.
My hunch is they probably went out the front door because of the blood that was found out there.
And there's the stuff the guy picked up to try to get rid of the camera.
You know, unless that happened right away and she happened to open the front door for him. But if they were propped open, obviously that was left for a reason. Quick in and quick out, whichever one it was.
Yeah, she used the word propped open. I guess I was just, why, if you were the bad guys, why would you leave the doors open?
Depending on what your plan was, locking and you not know how to unlock it to get out. Just it's a time thing. It's you want to plan your ingress and egress, and that's a way of doing it. And then that way too, you know exactly where you're going. You don't kind of get lost in the house. You know, you kind of see and remember where that open door is.
Do you think that they brought Nancy out the front, and that's why we saw the blood there?
I think so. My hunch, my theory is that's probably what happened. It's unfortunate, but no,
it doesn't show anything else. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get the back door thing with the blood in the front. Again, the only way that I can see that, and I'm not a cop, but the only thing that I can see with that is that something alerted her to somebody being outside in the front, and that's her house, and she don't give a shit, and she got up to defend her house and confront the person, opened the door on them. There was some sort of struggle right there. She ended up bleeding, and then everything else went inside the house. And then maybe they went out the back way, but that doesn't mean that they went through that back area. They could have went back and like around her house. So like I get that they're trying to like show the back area because of the whole like doors being propped open thing, but that doesn't mean that they went out that way or in that way, like through that spot. You know what I mean? Like they could have just walked around the house itself. But that other camera was destroyed back there. So them having some sort of access in and out in the back way makes sense because of that camera. They said it was Nancy's blood. And the way that one of the guys came out and talked was that it had to have been like from her facial area, like her arm or her facial area, because anywhere else on her body, it wouldn't have made those like actual like circular, perfect circle splats the way that it did. Oh, the whole thing is wild. I don't understand how there's nothing in the way of this lady. And she was literally connected to a machine, technically, with her Pacemaker app. Bluetooth signals are very like weak in way of how far they can go before becoming undetectable. And we know that they use technology that can do that, but it's also picking up your Bluetooth bed because you have to have a fancy ass internet connected bed to go up and down and change temperature. It's picking up your Samsung washer and dryer that's connected to the freaking internet. And if the internet goes down, you can't wash your clothes. It's connected to your refrigerator. Like all of those Bluetooth things that run to your phone and all that stuff, it's picking up all of that while they were trying to pick up her pacemaker. And that just didn't work. Not everything needs the internet. Not everything needs a Bluetooth connection. Because now look at the confusion with that. They can't even see what's real, what could be, because there's so many possibilities and so many signals out there. And apparently there's no way to tell the signals apart to be able to see if it's coming from a washing machine, a refrigerator, or if it's coming from a person. They do. She, especially with her age, her skin was probably pretty thin. Probably started screaming and the perp hit her to silence her. Probably. That's how I feel like she probably opened the door, started being like, who are you? Get off my porch, or said something to them, confronting them. That's why I don't know like how they're going to get away with trying to say nothing in that house. I don't see how they can get away with trying to say there's nothing in that house. Because again, if she came out that front door, they'd have footage of that. They don't have the physical camera and they were still able to pull up that footage. They would have footage of her being taken out that house if she went out the front way. And even with the camera smashed in the back, if something was going on in the backyard, obviously they've been able to get the footage without the physical camera even being functional. So I feel like they probably have a lot more and they're just not telling us. I think they probably have the people going in and out. I feel like they probably have the entire thing. But because they can't see who it is, there's nothing that gives them anything, they're not going to put it out there. Because what's it going to do? Make them look more stupid. That's all it'll do. I don't know how nosy they could be at 4 o'clock in the morning, though, in an area like that. Like a busy college area where everybody's like packed in within a few feet of each other. Ain't no way. And we already know from hearing that there was no silence that night. It was very loud. We heard all the things. But in this area, with them being so far apart, it being mostly nature, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know how she just disappears. That's just crazy. No feet marks, no shoe prints of the person going in and out. Because if they're going in through if they're utilizing the back at all, or even just like walking around in the front, where's their shoe prints? Because again, it's not like in the Idaho case where there's all kinds of people constantly walking around. Those shoe prints in Nancy Guthrie's yard would be pretty separated. It wouldn't be just like someone's always walking by. They definitely would have like intention. But then again, they gave that house back to the family like almost instantly and acted like they didn't even realize that the blood was on the front porch somehow. Which was crazy. Super crazy. I don't even know what to think. I just know that there's no reason for there not to be any answers here. And my biggest question will always remain, especially now, if you believed at least 2 of those ransom notes were real, then why did you and your rich ass entire family not pay the ransom? They have to know more, right? To admit that and then publicly say you were going to pay it and then not pay it. Like something changed somewhere. I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I just know people don't just disappear, especially when someone's on camera destroying their camera right when they're disappearing. Yeah, no proof of life, but they even mentioned in one of their last little things that they did that basically they wanted, how did they put it? It was really oddly worded. And this basically what made everyone think that they must have believed that she was no longer alive. It's very important to us. They said it sort of like that, like it's very important to us, or this is very important to us, not her, or she's very important. This is very important to us. At that point, I figured they were just talking about getting closure because they knew that she was gone and they just wanted her body back so they could do their thing. That's just how I've figured it's been. That's why I don't know why you wouldn't pay it. Lots of people have paid without proof of life. I don't know. It's just odd to me. That's just me though. Yeah, there was quite a bit of time. I don't know what to make of that either. I guess my biggest question No, she was just like a few days before that playing a game with some of her younger church people that she watches that church service with on Sunday. What was that game called? They were like at her house. I want to say it was Friday. Was it Friday or like early Saturday? A girl came out and did like an interview. It was her and a couple other people, and they were playing like a game and like hanging out with Nancy somewhere. I feel like it was at Nancy's house. And she actually had asked Nancy, hey, you're going to be at the service? Or Nancy asked her, one of them asked the other, if they were going to be at the mutual friend's house on Sunday for the church service. So no, she was just seen a couple days before that. Mahjong or bridge, one of the two. Mahjong sounds like that might be right. Yeah. Yeah, Mahjong. Plus the Uber driver took her to her daughter's house. And they spoke to him too. Yeah, the 41 minutes is interesting. Do we know if she had a safe? Do we know if there was a safe? Because that's the only thing that I could have thought of is that they got in, she was awake, and they were trying to get a code out of her. And maybe that's why they went in there and it just was taking longer than they thought. Maybe they thought she'd give in. I mean, if they couldn't get inside of the safe, then they couldn't steal anything but her. That's why I remember something about a safe, but I don't remember if it was like she actually physically has a safe in her house. That's a question that I would like answered. Yeah, a safe would explain the delay. I wish that we had, and they might have talked about it. I haven't listened to every little detail. There's an Uber video. Uber, people that record when it comes to Uber or Lyft are doing so on their own accord. Like it's their own equipment. Uber doesn't make you record. So if there's a video of Nancy inside of his vehicle, that'd be kind of good to know. That's a good question too. When's the last time she drove her vehicle? That's a good question. I mean, she still owned it. So maybe it was recent. I don't know. Oh, has anybody is there video of the Uber picking her up? I mean, they haven't released any other video from us, but they're also not being honest about what they have released either, because they still have that still shot they put out there along with the other footage, and they've been back and forth about what that is too. I think the last update that I heard from that was just that it was from a different time or a different day. I don't even know if that's accurate. I just know that constantly they're coming out here and saying these little spurts of things that don't make sense to anything else that they've said. Yeah, I don't know. You'd think that they might. That's what I feel like they had. I don't know. I feel like they have more footage than they're telling us. Is the kidnapping cop arrested a viable suspect for Nancy's case? Have the officials said anything about that one yet? I know I looked at him. I mean, he's kind of like the same size as the other guy, the Luke Daly guy. He's got softer eyes, I guess. But I don't think so. I don't know. Oh yeah, Linky Binky. He's that little bitty baby I had. That little bitty baby. And now he's ginormous. Yeah, kidnapped a lady. Yeah, I read about it. He just looks similar. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how it's 2026 and you've got a guy on camera, a Bluetooth pacemaker, this whole timeline of motion sensors, and you've got nothing. It's just wild to me. I don't even know what to think. Oh, yeah, I know JLR went back. He only went back because Brian Ensign announced he was going back. If Brian Ensign wouldn't have been back, then JLR wouldn't have been back. JLR is a copycat. Plus, he doesn't want to be in Florida because people are protesting outside of his house for him being such a loser. That's why I think it went in the house. That's why I think she confronted them at the door. There was some sort of confrontation. That's why the blood's where it is. And then everything went inside. That's what I think about why there's no other blood anywhere else. Yeah, I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more footage. Especially, like, I think there's footage from the backyard. And they're just not telling us. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can find something about there being a safe. Because if they've already eliminated the safe thing, I mean, I guess they really can't eliminate it unless there's somehow that they can tell that maybe a code was tried, attempted. But I guess maybe you could only really do that on one that's like electronic. I'm going to look and see about the safe. I'm going to see about the safe. I don't know if anybody's talked about it, but I'm going to see if somebody's mentioned something. And if not, then maybe I can email them and ask. I don't know if they'll tell me anything, though. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I feel like we probably will go live tonight about the Idaho case. I don't know if it's going to be this interview thing that annoyed the shit out of me today that I told you guys about of that girl. Or it might be this other thing that I've been wanting to talk about for a while from like a podcast of this investigator that worked the case that did a podcast like 2 years ago. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, and it is a long time to be inside that house. Like, there has to be a reason. I mean, there's a more sinister reason of like making sure you secure her body in something well enough to be able to remove her without leaving a trail. I mean, what else is there? Nothing was taken. I don't know what else to think. I don't know what else to think. That's the problem. It's all over the place. It's like, it's not just this one or this one. Almost every time a case gets out here, we hear and we realize and see the physical proof of so much insanity. So much insanity. I don't know what time because it's already almost 6. It won't be later than 9 o'clock. It just all depends on what I want to listen to. If it's gonna be super late, it probably won't be something that long. Let me check all of our normal places real quick. No new Idaho documents. No new open stuff on the 2025 records. Oh, I know that there's a there's updates with the EWU lawsuit. I'll scan through that and see. I don't know how many pages it is. Let me go check Sarah's page real quick. I also need to try to call Moscow. They should still be open. I tried to call earlier so that I could pay for that ATF interview, and she didn't answer the phone. Okay, so Sarah posted the petitioner's brief in support of petition for disclosure of public records, which is 15 pages. And then there's somebody named Amy James who has a declaration that's 45 pages long, and then a request for judicial notice, which is 17 pages long. So I'll go look through that and we'll see. We'll see what we end up doing. I don't know yet. It might just be another one of those bring your question things because it's Tuesday. So I try to do it on Tuesdays, lives on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. So we'll see. It won't be any later than 9 o'clock though. 9 o'clock Texas time. Metal detector. I don't know what they're doing. I just don't know what they're doing. Okay. Thank you so much for being in here with me today. Even though the conversation went crazy, but I'm going to give my opinion on things. And if you've been here for a while and you've actually paid attention to me as a person, which that person has been here for over a year now. So the ridiculousness was actually ridiculous. If you know who I am as a human, my history, the things I've shared with you, then nothing I said today should shock you. Nothing I said today should shock you. I don't believe that you need religion to be a good person. I don't believe that you need the fear of eternal damnation and hellfire in order to not be a piece of shit. And I feel personally that if you have to turn to religion in order to make yourself be a good human, then it's fake as shit and you're dangerous. Because you can take anything and let it mold who you are instead of actually being that. You're okay playing an act, putting an act on, and I'm not okay with that. I guess because I've seen it in my life, being in the religious cult shit that I was forced into as a child. I've seen it. I don't think it's necessary to be a good human. I don't think that you need a fear tactic or a behavioral tactic to be clean and sober, to be on the up and up, to not be a horrible human. I don't know how people can purposely go out and do bad things and just not feel something in this area of their body. Does that make sense to you? Even a little white lie, you don't feel a tinge inside of your body? Your brain can tell you this isn't okay. You're not supposed to do this. If you need something else to tell you not to be a horrible human, then you're just a horrible human. If you can't just be that on your own, sorry. Then you're not made of what you need to be made of. If you've got to fake it for something else. I've been hurt the most in my life by people that are elders, high ups, deacons. I've been hurt the least by atheists. People who do Wicca. People who practice voodoo have done me a lot better than the highest Christian. I think a lot of people can say that. Maybe not in those specifics, but I think a lot of people can say that. And then you also see, look at the Consalvases. There's an example. He walks around with the cross on his hat, has a child that he tossed off into the trash, lies constantly, has no issue. Both of them have no issue just coming out here and telling the most ridiculous lies in order to save their own faces while they talk about God and wear crosses. I can't. I don't do the hypocrisy. I just can't do it. I just cannot. Cannot. Using religion as a weapon is awful. Exactly. Exactly. Just be a good human. Just be a good person. It's not hard to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please and thank you. Can you, may I, hold the door open, not kill things, not punch things, not hurt things, not be cruel to animals. Why do you need something else to tell you not to do those things? That's crazy to me. Just crazy. Just a little crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and figure out what we're going to be doing. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships and the super stickers and the super chats and all of you that were in here with me today. It's just such a crazy story. I just want one little piece of something to let us know something about this little old lady. She's my grandparents' age. And I couldn't imagine my grandpa human walking up on his door and then not a trace. Not a trace of going out the garage or out the side or out the back. Like, just not a trace. That's crazy stuff. Super wild. I just don't understand it. All right. Y'all go have a great rest of your evening. I'll figure out later today and put something out to notify you guys. But for now, I'm going to jump off of here. I got to go finish some laundry. Ooh, okay. I wish I could be like that guy. Has he moved maybe like an inch the whole time? That's probably what he did. All right. I'll see you guys in a little while. Y'all have a super great evening. I'm going to go ahead and roll this one out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.